Hi there, and if you are looking for the 5 rules when communicating to senior stakeholders, you're watching the right video. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 rules when you are communicating in senior stakeholder interactions so that you can influence upwards effectively, you demonstrate your value, and you really fast track your career, because it's one of the keys to being able to communicate effectively in the workplace. My name is Laura, and I help professionals communicate and present with confidence. I help them build authority. I help them influence others in the workplace, and I help them really accelerate their careers. I have managed and worked in industry for up to 20 years, and I've managed multidiscipline teams with multi-projects in global countries around the world, and constantly communicating up to C-suite level executives. I've worked with professionals and teams in companies like Facebook and IBM and Deloitte and Oracle and the NHS and social finance and the police. And everybody in those different industries has the requirement, as we all do, to be able to communicate effectively to the senior team, to the C-suite or the senior managers in your workplace. So if you want the 5 keys to when communicating to senior stakeholders, then keep watching this video. Rule number 1, start with the end in mind. If you have ever seen a senior stakeholder's diary, it is like this: busy, 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 back to back, really hectic. You are one meeting of many meetings in the day, in the week. And if you can make it easier for the senior stakeholder to make that decision or the action from the meeting happen, the better you're going to look. So don't waffle, be brief and concise, and be really focused on the intention and outcome of the meeting that you're having. So rule number 1 when communicating to senior stakeholders is start with the end in mind. Appreciate that they are back to back to back to back, and go in there and tell them at the beginning of the meeting so that you can focus their mind in on the decision that you want them to make. What is it that you need from the meeting? What is the decision? What is it that they have to okay, or what input do you need from them? So start with the end in mind by saying, in this meeting, we are going to go through these projects or this project, and I need a decision from you on X, Y, and Z. And by doing that, what you do is you focus their mind on exactly what you need to know and what you need them to do. So no matter what happens in that meeting, everyone is crystal clear on what it is you want to get out of the meeting. And that is key when the time you have with senior stakeholders isn't necessarily always something you've got a lot of. So go into that meeting. The first rule of when speaking to senior stakeholders is start with the end in mind and communicate exactly what you need from that meeting. Rule number 2, flex to their requests. Now, the chances are that in that meeting, the plan that you go in there with is not actually what's going to happen. And things change. Sometimes they turn up to the meeting late. Sometimes they've got to take a call. Sometimes they've got to go off and do something else. So you really need to be flexible in that meeting to whatever happens. Now, if they ask you questions and you're going through a presentation or you've got an agenda, then I would suggest that you take their questions whenever you're asked of them. You jump around, you flex the agenda to go with exactly what they want and exactly what they want to know, because they will be coming into that meeting from a completely different place from you, and they'll be thinking, I need to know X, Y, and Z to make the decision I need to make here. So don't stick to the agenda that you have. Don't stick to the content that you have for that meeting. Make sure you jump around, flex as you need to, answer questions as they come up, and really give them exactly what they need to know to get the outcome that you want. So it's really helping facilitate them make the action, take the action, or give you the information so that you can get the outcome you want. So really be flexible, have a flexible intention going into that meeting. Rule number 3, respect the egos in the room. Egos vary obviously between the people you're dealing with, but generally the further up the tree you go, perhaps the bigger ego you're going to find. You're going to be dealing with their personalities, their efficiency of work. People in senior positions are used to getting their own way. They're used to people responding to them quickly and doing what they're being asked to do. And sometimes you need big egos in some form because senior levels of working positions is very competitive. So you need to really believe in your competence and your ability to do stuff. So the further you've gone up, the more belief you're going to have in, where you are and what you're doing. And they haven't got there by bad luck. They have persuaded, influenced, and built success over their career, and they have a lot of experience. It's a combination of that success, that confidence, that competition, I think, that can point to perhaps having egos. Sometimes you come across them in different formats. And the higher up you go, sometimes the bigger the egos you will find. And in terms of getting the outcomes you want from the meeting, which is what's important to you, just have to be respectful of the egos or the different personalities that you're dealing with round the table for making those decisions. And you don't want to kind of intentionally go up against anyone if you don't have to. And you want to just try and keep respectful of those so that you can get everyone's buy-in and get exactly what you want out of them. And just to help you go through this process, because I know it's quite difficult to remember all of this and kind of communicate in this way, which is different when you're communicating to senior stakeholders, I've put together an action sheet that you can download, and there's a link in the description under this video. And in the action sheet, you've got access to all the slides here, but also the actions that you need to take when you go into these meetings. It's worth sort of making your own notes and writing down the actions that you're going to take or the outcomes you want or the people that you're talking to. So download the action sheet. It's a link on the top of the description under this video, and that will really help you go through this process too. So rule number 3 was just be respectful of those egos in the room so that you can make sure that you don't bristle any egos and get the outcomes that you want from the interaction. Rule number 4, walk and talk confidence. Now, confidence is really important in these interactions. Whether you feel it or you don't feel it, you need to be communicating confidence in what you're saying. The senior stakeholders want to feel confident. They're going to be talking to lots of different people all the time, and they want to be able to listen to your viewpoints, get your input, and be confident in the decisions that are getting made. So you need to communicate confidence. Now, you can do that in terms of thinking about your body language, really having a kind of confident posture, and that is normally putting your shoulders back, head up, just looking and feeling confident and relaxed in what you're saying and what you're doing. And that will communicate the confidence that you are feeling, and it will also make you feel confident. It's about having clear decisions, clear communication, being able to articulate your viewpoints with the confidence that you have, with the input that you're having in the meeting. So make sure when you're in those interactions that you're communicating confidently and that you're breathing confidently, your posture's confident, your tone is low and calm, and you feel like you're in control. Even that if deep down inside you feel like you're like, pressure, just breathe, relax, get posture of confidence, and communicate confidence in those interactions, because those senior stakeholders will have a small amount of time to get what you're asking them to do or informing or reporting to them, and you want to give them the confidence that you know exactly what you're doing and you're going to go off and take the right action. So communicate confidence in those interactions. Rule 5, focus on value. Now, it's easier said than done walking into these meetings and being confident. And, sometimes we get imposter syndrome and we're like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to answer their questions. What if they ask me this? What if they ask me that? What if I don't have an answer? What if I forget my words? What if I can't, deal with the situation? And sometimes there's that dialogue going on in our heads about these senior stakeholder interactions. And you can walk in those rooms and there's so much pressure on you saying the right thing and doing the right thing. Now, one of the key ways of sort of relieving some of that pressure is to kind of change your focus on what's going on in your head. And if you focus on the value that you bring to that meeting, you focus on what you are responsible for in this interaction, in this conversation, and focus on making sure you're articulating that value to the other people in the room, it takes your focus off yourself and you stop sort of like, oh gosh, getting nervous and freaking out and doing all the things you don't want to do. And instead you put your mind on what's going on in the room. Notice how people are interacting, what they're saying. Focus on the value that you bring to the conversation and switch your mind outside of yourself so you don't get that imposter syndrome. And you are focused on the value, focused on the meeting, focused on the outcome of that meeting, and watching how other people are responding to the meeting and to the conversations. So to get rid of the imposter syndrome, focus on the value that you are bringing into the meeting, because that's what they've hired you to do. They've hired you to do a job. They haven't hired you to do their job. They've hired you to do a specific job. Focus on the value that you bring in to do your job well and to do it effectively, and communicate that value in the meeting and focus on it. And that will really help take some of that pressure off. So communicating confidently and professionally in these interactions is key, because communicating to senior stakeholders is about progressing your career and not letting others go past you for promotion on that career ladder, because you're front of mind in the senior stakeholders' minds, you're communicating effectively and they're getting exactly what they want. So follow these 5 keys to when communicating to senior stakeholders, and make sure you go into these meetings prepared and ready to really communicate effectively and with authority and deliver and what you've gone in to deliver, and build your reputation with the senior stakeholders in your company. And as I said halfway through this video, there is an action sheet that you want to download, and in that action sheet there are all the slides, all the notes for this video, and also there are spaces that you can write in and answer some of the questions which really help you prepare for your senior stakeholder interactions. So download the action sheet, which is there's a link at the top of the description just under this video, and you'll be able to access that action sheet for free and get all the support for this video and take actions from watching this video. You can also watch another video that should come up right now, and that is about communicating with confidence, because confidence is a key thing when communicating with senior stakeholders, as we've mentioned in this video. And there are more videos that you can access on this channel about how to communicate with confidence. So click on the video to communicate confidently in these senior stakeholder interactions. And before I forget, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There should be a button that comes up that will help you subscribe easily to the channel so that you can get all the videos that we put out here at Talking Shop. And I look forward to speaking with you really soon.